Today's hunter doesn't want yesterday's hunting bullet. Today's hunter wants a bullet that not only will take down game, but will also perform like a match bullet in terms of accuracy and in terms of long-range ballistics. Enter the all-new MatchKing X or MKX from Sierra. In this video, we're going to get hands-on with two different bullets, the 142 grain 6.5 millimeter bullet and the 200 grain 30 cal bullet. F-Class John, Kyle, and myself have been busy with these bullets, testing rifles, working up loads, taking lab measurements, and even doing some insane ballistics gel testing. All of that in this video. Hey guys, Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. One of the products I'm most excited about that's new from Sierra this year is the MatchKing X bullets, or MKX. These bullets have similar performance to the traditional MatchKing bullets, but with better expansion for hunting, right? This is right in line with what you've seen with recent trends in bullet designs when we're talking cup and core. So there's a few things that are inherent here. First, you've got a boat tail, which, like the MatchKing bullets, provides a high BC. You've got a soft lead core in MKX compared to traditional MatchKing. This is going to aid in expansion and gives it some of that explosive performance that we observed. Tangent ogive is going to give you a high ballistic coefficient and consistent shot-to-shot impacts at range. And then finally we have the tapered jacket, which is going to ensure both consistency, right? The consistency of the jacket is super, super important so that it spins true and so that the ballistic coefficient and the weight is consistent from bullet to bullet, right? That's what's going to give you that consistent performance. But this tapered jacket also contributes towards the explosive expansion. And let me tell you, when we looked at the ballistics gel results, we saw something like we've never seen before. Absolute explosive performance. Okay, so for loads, we worked up a 6.5 Creedmoor load with the 142 grain 6.5 millimeter bullet. I think this bullet would work great in a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 6.5 PRC or similar cartridges that are in that sweet spot for that 140 to 145 grain weight range. F-Class John did a really cool experiment. The question was, what happens if you over anneal your brass? John did a whole bunch of shooting. I'll show you that here. And what John found was that these bullets shot absolutely amazing. A hunting bullet with sub-half MOA, consistent performance over the span of multiple charge weights. You know, we're talking about one hole groups consistently. And we were using an Ultimate Reloader custom rifle, so we gave it every chance to shine, and it absolutely did. So when it came to the ballistics gel, we actually used one of the loads that John had basically arrived at as a really great load. And that was 41.3 grains of H4350. And I loaded these with a 2.800 inch cartridge overall length. That yielded us right around 2,785 feet per second. So definitely really good performance out of that bullet in terms of the velocity that we would expect. And we'll get to the ballistics gel results a little bit later. For the 200 grain 30 caliber MKX bullets, I did a couple different experiments. The first was when we were reviewing Bergara's all-new ultra lightweight SEMA CF rifle. This was chambered in .308 Winchester and with very, very little load development and brand new LaPoa brass. I had a 3-shot certification group that measured 0.221 inches. Let me show you that shooting. So I'm totally convinced. You know, we did quick load development on these loads, and we got excellent performance in all cases. The third load that I worked up, I didn't even shoot on paper. It was just used for the ballistics gel testing, was 300 Win Mag. And that was with 73.0 grains of H1000, loaded to a cartridge overall length of 3.340 inches, and that yielded a velocity of 2879. So we're almost at 3,000 feet per second. This was not a max load. Who knows, maybe we would get to 3,000 feet per second with a 200 grain high BC projectile. That's what I call a long range hunting hammer. Next, Kyle on our team, who loves to nerd out in the lab, took a bunch of measurements to evaluate the consistency of these MKX bullets. So for the 6.5 142 grain bullets, on length, there was an average of 1.3531 inches and an SD of 6.5 thousandths of an inch, right where we would expect it to be for regular drawn hollow point bullets that haven't been uniformed. Weight, there was an average of 142.03 grains, which is very, very close to the predicted 142, with an SD of 0.07 grains. 1 grain is 1/7,000th of a pound, so that is very, very tight weight consistency on that. Diameter was 0.26403, extremely close to the 264 that we expect, with an SD of 0.6 of a 10,000th of an inch, so 0.00006, less than 1/10,000th of an inch. Awesome. Okay, and then for the 30 cal 200 grain MKX bullets, length had an average of 1.353.9 with an SD of 1.3 thousandths of an inch. Very, very good for conventional hollow point bullets. Weight averaged 200.06 grains, again, very close to the predicted weight of 200, the advertised weight, with an SD of 0.1 grain. Diameter for the 308 bullets measured 0.30839 with an SD of 0.4 of a 10,000th of an inch, 0.00004. Both very, very, very extremely consistent diameters, which is great to see. So both of these bullets in the lab measured up really, really well. So then came the ballistics gel testing. This is always really fun and really, really interesting. And this time the results were exemplary. What we did was we set up 2 blocks in a row on a table, got our high-speed camera set up on the side. We had previously taken a test shot on cardboard to see what our offset was going to be, because we're sighted in for 100 yards and we're shooting at 30 yards or something like that, 20. And of course, you're going to be hitting low, right? Because you're looking here and your bullet's here, right at the muzzle. So calculated the offset, marked it on the gel block, got everything ready, and with the 6.5, we took the shot and this happened. Yes, that was extreme. Let's just say that. Like, when I looked at the footage on the computer, it was a little bit hard to believe the explosiveness of that wound cavity. And what happened was it went through one block and stopped right at the transition to the second block. So we had essentially 16 inches of penetration, could be slightly further if we had a magical 36-inch, long block. But what I was really looking at was that wound channel and just how wide it expanded. I mean, this is some really explosive performance. And in terms of the numbers, we had a final weight of 63.8 grains, so that's 44.93% retained. The start diameter is 264, final diameter is 532, so it ended up 200% its original width, and the velocity on that was 2784. Then we lined everything up with a 300 Win Mag, right? And this is the load where we had 73 grains of H1000, and we saw a velocity of 2879. Everything was completely lined up. We did the same cardboard test and took the shot. This is how that went. So the 200 grain MKX bullet from the 300 Win Mag went all the way through the 16 inches of the first block and then went in, I have this flipped around the other way here, 4 more inches. So we had 20 total inches of penetration, but the wound cavity on this guy was just hard to believe, just ridiculously big. So the final weight on that bullet after recovery was 79.7 grains. So we had 39.85% retention. Start diameter is 0.308, final diameter is 0.934. So it tripled in diameter, and the velocity again on that one was 2879. So ballistics gel performance, really amazing wound channel, a little less retained weight on the bullet. So my summary for hunting is, if you're going for the wound channel, this is going to be a really great option. If you're going to emphasize penetration, this might not be the best bullet for you. So we really put MKX through the paces with 6.5mm and with 30 cal, right? We've got our 6.5 Creedmoor, we did 308 Winchester and 300 Win Mag. What we saw was a bullet that was extremely accurate. We saw precision on target that was pretty much unparalleled by other match bullets that we've tested in terms of just the sheer consistency of these bullets in multiple cartridges tested. We also saw bullets that held up extremely well in the lab in terms of validating the consistency of the dimensions, the weight, and so on and so forth. And then finally, we saw some really extreme performance with the ballistics gel. Not so much with penetration, but with the wound cavity produced. It was just a little bit insane. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for a bullet that you can use for both hunting and for target, I think this would be an absolute no-brainer. If you want a hunting bullet that's accurate, if you want a hunting bullet that's going to create an explosive wound channel, MKX is going to be your way to go. I have really high confidence in this. What I would like to do next is actually take an animal with one of these bullets. And who knows, big game season is coming up. If it's not me, maybe it's someone else on the team. Here's what I'd like to know from you is, what do you think of the performance that we've shown for MKX in this video? And if you were going to hunt with MKX, which bullet would you choose? Which cartridge would you choose? And what kind of animal would you be hunting with? Oh, and by the way, would you also use it for target shooting? Drop a comment and we'll see you down there in the comments section. For more information about the MKX bullets, click on that first link in the video description and we'll have links to the appropriate product pages and so on and so forth. This was a fun one. Thank you for watching. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.